It must have been very difficult for you as director of cricket to have experienced what's happened in the last three games. What's it meant to you personally?
Our expectations are so high, aren't they? You know, we've gone into the final phases of the championship in recent years with the chance of winning the championship, and it's difficult, really, really difficult. And you know, players in the change room, the coach and staff, you know, people associated to the club who work here, and the membership, followers all around the globe, and everyone's finding it really, really difficult. And it's not easy. It's not easy because people really care, and it's difficult for me to stand here because I'm quite emotional about it. Because we want our boys to do really well. Because I can look at you straight in the eye. I believe in those players. I believe in our staff. And cricket's a funny old game, isn't it? When you've got some momentum, you roll with it. And sometimes when you haven't got momentum, you don't get any luck. Things really go against you. And that's where we find ourselves at the moment. What we've got to do is we've got to keep believing. Like I said, there's been some real incremental improvements during this game. Keep building on that, one layer at a time. Take some confidence from some of the small things we've done really well during this game. There's areas for us to improve, without doubt. We've got to keep building on that, one layer at a time. We've got a great opportunity looking forward to Saturday, and everyone's really looking forward to it.
What has gone wrong since the early part of the season when Somerset were doing so well?
Well, the fundamental difference is that we haven't been able to put a number of runs on the board in the first innings to put the opposition under pressure. But you know, I think our performances as a team, you know, haven't quite been to the levels that they were before the break. And we found it very, very hard work. We've seen from today's game over the last few days that Lancashire have got the ball in really challenging areas more consistently than we've done, and that's asked more questions of our batters. And you know, I'm not making excuses for anybody, but second time round the conditions were slightly different, and obviously we've ensured that we've tried to maximise that as best we possibly can. And the conditions in the first innings and the amount of times they got balls in challenging areas, it was much tougher for us.
This was the first innings in 7 that Somerset had gone past 200. You mentioned the coaching. Do you not think it's time to appoint a first team batting coach, given that Jim Troughton is spending most of his time with the second 11?
We've got some real quality coaches in our coaching setup, and we work really diligently with our players. And as I alluded to before, you know, the players are working really hard. There's lots of conversations going on with the coaches as well, and I've got a lot of belief in our coaching staff. I don't think it's the time now for making any knee-jerk decisions. I think it's important that we keep focused on getting ourselves back on the wagon again and looking to build on some of the highlights from the second innings. The opening partnership of 50 plus, the 130-odd partnership between Tom and Azza. It's got to build on that and, you know, become more consistent at getting 300 plus and taking some of those small incremental improvements into that final game and into next season.
And going on to the bowling, you must be concerned at the lack of depth in the seam bowling attack. I mean, Somerset have really, really struggled in the absence of Craig Overton and Lewis Gregory.
And losing Josh Davies just before the start of this game. You know, we've got some outstanding bowlers, and you know, they've demonstrated in the first phase of this championship year as a collective unit, you know, how effective and how good they are. When you take one or two of those pieces out, that means the roles of bowlers change, and you know, there's an area for us to ensure that we're getting the ball in those challenging areas more often. And that's something we need to be better at. I'm not concerned about our depth. I think that we've just been unfortunate that we've had those injuries. During the white ball phase, we lost both Lewis and Craig to England, and again that challenged us. And again, we've taken lots of learning from that. And you know, I mean, I think it's really, really important to ensure that we're showing that as a bowling unit, we just learn from each experience we get. And you know, one thing we can take away from this game is that we need to get the ball in those challenging areas even more than what we're doing currently.
Now you've got a big day coming up, finals day at Edgbaston on Saturday. How are you going to go about lifting the team after what must have been a very dispiriting experience, Lamb Via Park, over the last 3 days?
I think representing Somerset at finals day, people won't need much motivation. Everybody will be really up for it. There'll also be some fresh new faces in that group as well. And we played some outstanding white ball cricket coming into that finals day. And it was only just a few weeks ago that we all witnessed, you know, the Somerset Down bouncing and the performance we did with the bat, the ball and in the field. And there's a lot of confidence in that change when moving forward into Saturday.
And what about the fitness situation? Is Craig Overton going to be available? Josh Davey? What's the Lewis Gregory situation?
Yes, so we're working towards Craig and Josh both being fit for finals day. So we've got a few days to work towards that. And as we've alluded to previously, Lewis won't be available to bowl on finals day.
But will he be playing? Will he be captaining?
He's available to play, and he will be leading the side.